My name is Jonathan Jones. It's my pleasure, my privilege to be your host and moderator for this afternoon. As you can see, today is May the 4th, 2025, and it's Sunday, and it's just a few minutes after 5 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. So you can adjust your thinking there based on where you are on the planet and what time zone that you're in. But I'm in Florida, so I just quickly default to the Eastern Standard Time. We're going to be talking about the fact that this month, the month of May, has been declared Mental Health Awareness Month. Later in the month, we're going to be talking about another Health Awareness Month, that National Health Awareness Month. That's going to be centered around HIV. So we'll talk about that later. Before we dive into our discussion today, we are required to let you know that the FDA has not evaluated the statements that we're making. And when you hear testimonials, just please know that they're purely anecdotal. And that means what happens to one person may or may not happen to you. So neither the Healthcare Support Association of America, Engage Global, Dr. Prasad is a scientist, by the way, so just make sure you understand that. Professor Prasad, Jonathan Jones, or any authorized representative, we're not making claims that any of the supplements that we recommend will treat, cure, or heal any disease state. This presentation is for information and educational purposes only. It is not intended to be a substitute for a visit to your doctor. We strongly recommend that you seek the competent medical advice of professionals that you trust. So please remember that. And if we do have time for some questions at the end of our discussion, we want to make sure that you all understand that Dr. Prasad is a scientist. He's not a medical doctor, so he's not giving medical advice, but he's willing to pass on the science. And then you can make a decision and perhaps discuss that with your doctor. Now, I went to the NIH, National Institute of Health, and just trolled it for some of the latest statistics on mental health. And this is what they presented. Now, my personal opinion is that the numbers are going to be significantly different once they get advanced further and further into the pandemic. But this was right smack during the pandemic. These figures are from 2022. All right. Over 1 in 5 adults experience a mental illness. And that's really hard to believe. That's almost 25%. So that's quite a significant number. When it comes to young adults, they have the highest prevalence. That's up to 36%. So more than 1/3. 5.5% of US adults experience serious mental illness. And when it comes down to a serious mental illness, remember that's something that impacts the daily functioning and quality of life. So something that really is debilitating and gripping. And we covered a couple of cases like that when we were talking about National Stress Awareness Month. So, if you want to go back in my YouTube channel and revisit those, you'll see some individuals who told their stories where their life was severely impacted because of stress and anxiety. Only 47.2% of adults with mental illness received treatment in 2022. That's hard to even wrap your mind around. That's less than half. That's less than half actually received some treatment. And the barriers that fall into the stigma. I mean, nobody wants to be stigmatized. No one wants it on their chart that they have a mental illness. So people think that there's some stigma associated with that. Then the cost, and then sometimes the lack of access to care. I am right now doing some consulting work with for a mental health company in Baltimore, Maryland. Laurel, Maryland is where the parent office is, and some of the conferences that I've attended really emphasize this particular stigma. It's a real problem. It's a real problem, and most of it is just because folks don't want to be branded as having some kind of a mental health issue. When it comes to young people, 1 in 6 experience a mental health disorder. Only 50% receive some kind of treatment for that. And when it comes to social media, there's a category there that they had, referencing social media. 48% of teens believe social media negatively affects peers. 48%. Almost half of them say that social media negatively affects their peers, but 74% say it helps them to feel more connected to friends. So the viewpoint of teenagers swings all over the place when it comes to their view of using social media. So that just tells you again, there's a real strain mentally when it comes to that. If you want to capture, all of this in a couple of quick screenshots, here it is. So this all came from the National Institute of Health. So you can snag that screenshot, and that gives you cliff notes of the mental health statistics that we just covered. And then this next screen is the other for 2 items that were discussed. So mental health problems is very real. It's not something to be frowned upon. It's a real thing. And generally speaking, it's adults who may struggle, with some issues that may be more willing to discuss their issues and to talk about problems that they were having from a mental perspective. But I'm going to share with you one story before we introduce Dr. Prasad. And the idea behind this particular person's story is just so that you can be aware that Dr. Prasad's formulas have had a real impact on people, have had a real significant impact on people. And they do make a difference in people's mental health and well-being. So we're going to share with you just maybe one story here. Let's see if we can't pull this one up. And there may be some here on the meeting today, if you're willing to discuss how things have gone for you, any particular impact that you've had of notice, observed about with your own particular mental health. I can personally tell you, I don't have mental health issues, but I distinctly remember, it was very distinct. And I think I even talked to Dr. Prasad about it. This is years ago, that for some reason, all of a sudden, not long after I started taking his products, I just felt good. I just had this overwhelming feeling of well-being. And then the more I looked at his products, he has specific components in his formula that promote a sense of well-being. And I believe it was, Dr. Prasad will tell us this, I believe it was connected to the vitamin E succinate as one of the things that crosses the blood-brain barrier and can give you that feeling of well-being. But it was distinct. And I didn't consider myself to be a person who was depressed at all. But I was glad it happened. It was kind of nice to go through that little bit of a transition. So let's see. Let's go to Michi Morris. This story, for some of you that are here for the first time, especially, you've never heard any of these stories. So we're going to share this one with you because this woman was a caregiver for her mother who was dealing with Alzheimer's disease. And that's a really brutal one. So I think this one will illustrate the point. Michi, tell us, what's the rest of your name? Second as I get it started, if you don't mind.
Morris.
Okay, Michi Morris. Well, it's nice to meet you, Michi Morris, and thank you so much for being willing to tell us whatever it is you have to tell us. So we're looking for all ears.
Yes, thank you for this opportunity, or space rather. It makes it even more special. I had no idea this is what the topic was today, Alzheimer's. I had no idea.
The brain, the brain. So we're talking about the brain. So go ahead.
The brain, yeah. So my husband just, was inviting me through Rob. I really don't personally know him, but I know we started with the products and the collagen. I started my mother on the collagen, I think last Tuesday is when we received it. Now, my mother has been diagnosed with the Alzheimer's for, I guess, about 10 years. So no focus. 10 years, yes. So no focus, just kind of staring. She's 86 years old. So she's just basically kind of staring. Sometimes we put on gospel music. She'll kind of move her head, that type of thing. Sometimes I'll tell her an old story about her grandmother and she may give a laugh. Other than that, no, she can still walk on her own, that type of thing. But I started the collagen on last Tuesday. And on top of that, last Thursday, she was diagnosed with COVID. And so she had a lot of mucus, yes. So she had a lot of mucus on her chest. So we received the products. I started giving her collagen in her Ensure, because that's the only way, even her medicine, she just she chews them. So I started putting it in her Ensure and sometime in the cereal. And then the brain boost, I only gave her about 2 brain boosts because my brother's dealing with pancreatic cancer. So my first order, I wanted to send that over to him and get him going right away. So it was round about this week. I think it was round about Friday. We was taking her, on her daily walks. She had more clarity. She was pushing her walker. The neighbors was like, we haven't seen her in a while, and they was calling her name. And she stopped and turned around and waved to them.
Oh my.
And she had not done something like that in 2 or 3 years. Huh. And her foot that she was dragging, she was able to keep up with her walker. And then I think it was that Friday morning when I put her in the shower, which she has to lift her leg over the tub. And so I shared with her, I said, why don't you try and wash your face with the washcloth? And this is something she has not done in 2 or 3 years. I would have to bathe her. And just with that one prompting, she started washing her face, and she continued to wash her neck, and she continued to wash her body. And I'm like, whoa. And then when I went around to pick up and get some more soap, she had stepped out of the tub on her own, 1-2, without falling. And I'm like, oh, whoa, wait a minute, hold up. And the only thing I noticed, and it's been different things, I've called my brother after that, and she said, good morning. She said, good morning to him. She had not said anything like that to them in 5 years when they would call. And then last night, my husband and I was going to bed. He's online, and she goes, y'all, I'll see you. She has not had a sentence of 4 or 5 words like that in years. And I'm like, what is going on? Could this be? So the only thing I know was the collagen I've given her for about 7-8 days. She missed 2 days last week. And this morning I did not give it to her. I gave her the brain booster, and she only had about 3 brain boosters. Wow. So that's the only thing other that I've noticed I've been doing. So
was she taking a micronutrient?
I'm speechless right now, Michi Morris.
Yeah.
I'm speechless. That's remarkable to hear, and I think everyone right now is stunned. We not a single one of us doubt the man, Dr. Kedar Prasad. Okay, I'm going to stop right there, and we're very interested to hear some comments from Dr. Prasad on how something like that could take place. So you'll hear it in just a moment. So keep in mind, folks, we just keep with this disclaimer up there because this is required by law, and YouTube does not want us either to be misleading you and making you think that we're trying to say that any of Dr. Prasad's formulas will treat, cure, or heal any disease state. So testimonials are purely anecdotal. What happens to one person may or may not happen to you. But let's have a conversation here with Dr. Prasad. I'm going to introduce you to him. Dr. Prasad was the world's first radiation biology PhD, and his products have been awarded some 10 patents here in the United States. And his list of accolades goes on and on and on. And you can take a screenshot of them and see them there for yourself. But I do want to point out this one discovery right there. You see the second bullet point from the bottom in the top section, or the 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth one down. The Dr. Prasad is the one who discovered the anti-cancer potency of vitamin E succinate. So not only are there multiple types of vitamin E, one of them just happens to kill cancer cells. So I don't know about you, but if I'm going to have a vitamin E in my body, I would prefer to have one that, oh, by the way, just happens to be killing some cancer cells while it's doing what it does. So this is the gentleman, in the face of thousands of other scientists who drew that conclusion, who figured that out. He also went on to figure out that butyric acid is an anti-cancer agent. That's kind of a component that's formed in the gut from the fermentation of fibers in the gut. Dr. Prasad figured that out also. So you can recognize that he is an expert when it comes to mental health, an expert when it comes to the brain, an expert when it comes to the gut. And he has focused his attention on cancer tremendously, but that's not all. He has been published. Look at his credentials. He was a professor at University of Colorado School of Medicine for more than 30 years, and several other things, including being invited to be a member of the Nobel Peace Prize nominating committee for candidates in the category of medicine. He's authored more than 33 books. I think it's 35 now, and close to 300 times he's been published in peer review publications. This man has forgotten more than most of us know. This is a snapshot of just some of Dr. Prasad's published works. So, as usual, it is just my privilege and my pleasure to invite into our discussion Dr. Kedar Prasad, because this is we're very fortunate that we have access to this gentleman who's getting younger and younger by the day. So, Dr. Prasad, thank you so much, sir, for joining us.
Thank you, Jonathan. I always enjoy being with you and my whole engaged family, that I love all of them.
Yes, sir.
And anything I can contribute to their health and well-being, I'm always available to answer questions.
Dr. Prasad, you're changing people's lives, sir. You're having an effect on so many of us. I know personally in my own family, and so many that are on this meeting right now, nearly 100 connections. I can tell you that whoever has been associated with anything that you've touched, their life has changed, and family members' lives have changed. So thank you for what you do. So tell us about what you're seeing here with this mental health business and what you saw with Mickey Morris.
Yeah, like you mentioned, Alzheimer is one of the problems that have a mental health issue, because people in the advanced stage, and they get worried about anxiety, hallucinations. In all neurodegenerative disease, it happens. And then another reason is that you mentioned in the statistics, younger people, sometimes when you were growing up, your parent did not treat you nicely, that they're supposed to do it. Sometimes you are worried about money. Sometimes you are worried about relationship. All these things created a stress.
Yeah.
There are a lot of external factors that create a stress to you. An internal factor, like you mentioned, disease also, if you are suffering from a chronic disease, that creates anxiety, depression. So depression has and then some people have genetic component that you can't do anything. But in many other component that induces mental health problem, you can't improve it. But what you can do, try to improve it. Like if you're having a financial problem, say for example, or relationship problem, try to improve it. And for improvement, you can go and do meditation, yoga. Sometimes doing something weird stuff can help to bring you, from the mental depression state. And people like, for example, veterans. You did not have a statistic in veterans. They have very high incidence of anxiety and depression, to a point that they have a suicide rate of almost 1 per week or per day. I didn't know the statistic, but I know this much because I worked with them, the whole group. So they have very high incidence of. So the question is, so in order to address them, you have to know what we can do it. It depends upon what stage you want to prevent it. If you are younger stage, you have different approach. If you have a disease state is causing the mental health problem, there's a different issue, different approach. So totally different approach. For younger people, for example, and it is very important to remember that when you are in a stress, anxiety, depression, your body produces a lot of oxidative stress and then inflammation. It's always the case, irrespective what are the causes. When you are young, causes are different. When you are disease state, causes are different. But all of them produces inflammation and this thing. So, for example, for younger people, the best advice I can give it that try to reduce stress, take vacation, or do anything that you enjoy, do it. In addition to that, you have to also reduce oxidative stress because all these external factors you are facing it. Many times you don't have a control over that. And so, people in high school, they have poor grade or they're struggling for, many factors. They
Yes.
sometimes don't have a control, but what you have control, how to reduce oxidative stress and inflammation. This is under your control because this can be attenuated or markedly reduced by taking a micronutrient. We have it, and that will reduce oxidative stress. We have and any type of whether young or old. If you are in a depression, anxiety, stress, your intestinal dysbiosis increases. This is very interesting. First, intestinal dysbiosis was only associated with as you grow older, with or without disease.
Right.
But younger people have a severe stress and other things. They will induce the intestinal dysbiosis. And as you know, intestinal dysbiosis is that increased number of harmful bacteria in your gut and decline in the number of beneficial bacteria. So then you say, okay, then I have to take care with prebiotics. So that is very important. That is in your hand. And third thing is collagen peptides. For younger people, this is not as important, but older people and people who are like the demonstration, she said it, that when they gave collagen peptides, and then she feels better. And the reason is actually there is a clinical study done among 45 to 60-year-old adult who has no Alzheimer disease, but they were forgetting it, some form of dementia. So that they have no knowledge. But the collagen peptide, as you know, 30% of your total body protein is collagen. That means collagen present in the skin. When you lose, you can see it. But if you are losing in the brain, heart, kidney, you don't see it. So this scientist did a clinical study. They did MRI and found that at that stage, and one of the major function of collagen is to maintain a structural integrity of all organs in your body. And when you lose collagen from your skin, you can see it. But when you lose collagen from your brain, you don't see it. But it is happening there too. And so they wanted to determine it. So they determined, and there was significant number of people. So they just supplemented them with 5 grams of collagen peptides every day for 90 days. And then when they get an MRI, they found, certain area of the brain is shrinkage. But now, after 90 days of collagen peptide, they found no, that defect is restored, the structure is restored, and people he was forgetting it. Now you can remember everything. So cognitive function also improved. So the collagen peptide has very, very important role in restoring, especially when you are growing older. Make sure you maintain collagen peptide in your body all the time, in all organ, including the skin. A skin man, you look younger. I mean, I take it so my skin looks younger, but I'm 91. But still, I'm very, very functional mentally and physically, except my back pain. Well, that's the price of I used to play a lot of tennis and volleyball and so on. But anyway, so that's very important. So this lady that she was saying it, that collagen helped her. And also here is another thing very important that she mentioned, the brain boost. Brain boost are just mentally made for especially those kind of situations. That and first you have to know what is happening in the brain first. Normal brain happens. What happens? That 20% of respired oxygen that you breathe it through the air, you use by brain alone. 20%. And so what happens? The result is that why they use so much? Because they need a lot of energy.
Mm-hmm.
And how they make a lot of energy? Mitochondria will use oxygen to make energy. And so that they continue to do it. Then what consequences is as a byproduct, free radicals are generated. So much so, they use oxygen mitochondria, that 2% of unused oxygen leaks out from the mitochondria and generates billion of free radicals. Then you would have thought that nature should have provided some strong antioxidant level in the brain. No, it is opposite. It is the lowest level of antioxidant system in the brain than any other organ in your body.
Wow.
And that's the reason that even if you don't do anything, normal rate is 1% of neurons start losing every year.
That's not good.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So then, because it is facing so much, and not only that, brain also has a dopamine level. Dopamine, which if you have too much less dopamine, that you get Parkinsonism. So there is a lot of dopamine, and dopamine gets easily oxidized by
Yeah.
oxygen, and then becomes acts as a free radicals. And so brain is facing all kind of toxic agent daily. So
Wow.
we said, okay, I felt that micro daily EMF is not sufficient, and so we have to do something more. So we did what we did, and we added a curcumin, which, as you know, is very powerful antioxidant, and resveratrol. And resveratrol is important not only as an antioxidant, it increases the formation of new mitochondria. So if you have more mitochondria, then they can use more energy, more oxygen, and you will have more energy. And if you grow older, and some people have, like her, in her case, brain has very fewer neuron are left, but brain is, neuron is very plastic. Even a small amount of neuron, and if you give them enough sufficient amount of nutrient, they can function it very remarkably. And so in this case, we decided that, well, brain boost we just increase the two ingredient. In this case was resveratrol and curcumin. And then I thought that, they face so much high oxidative stress every day. The membranes are very sensitive to oxidative damage, very sensitive. And most of the brain boosts, most of them are the what you call membranous structure, and membranous structure get easily damaged. So I said I have to provide a two precursor of membrane. One is phosphodietyl and another is phosphodiethyl. What is not there? What is going on? Choline, and another one is serine, phosphodiethyl serine. Yeah, it is there. Sorry, phosphodiethyl serine. These two are precursor of the membrane. So now, if you give them, they will use to form new membrane, and already you have provided antioxidant protection, so they won't get any damaged. So that's very important. And then we added some coenzyme Q10 and nicotinamide ascorbate, and these two are very important for the mitochondria to use them to make more energy. So not only whatever they have in the brain normally, we said, oh, we will give you some more substrate so that you can make more energy. So we provided my brain more mitochondria by using a resveratrol, and we are also providing a more substrate that they must use to generate energy. That's why it is so effective in terms of improving brain function. I take
Wow.
it every day too.
Wow.
And so this is this is amazing. If you look the science of a brain, what is happening every day in the brain, and don't do anything. Well, when you are growing, you are happy because, but even though brain is you are losing brain certain amount of neuron every day, but brain in neuron has very plastic. They can function with a fewer neuron. So until 60-70% are lost, you don't get a clinically detectable Alzheimer or Parkinson disease or any kind of neurological diseases. And
So, Dr. Prasad, then it doesn't surprise you when you saw Michi
no,
Morris
no,
describing
I mean,
response from her mother.
no, it didn't surprise me, but you always think it will happen. But when you see actually it happened, then you get a surprise. Yes, I was surprised because you predict this will happen.
Right.
Prediction doesn't mean that it will happen.
Doesn't mean it's going
But
to
when it
happen.
happens, then you are extremely happy to
Right.
see that kind of testimonial that this thing is working as I thought it will. This is important.
So if it would work for someone then who is that far advanced, 10
Yeah,
years
yeah,
into diagnosis of Alzheimer's, 10 years,
yeah.
she recovered some cognitive function.
Exactly, because neurons were still there, some left, but it's not functioning. But providing this kind of precursor and some extra more mitochondria generated within neuron, they become little healthier.
Wow. That's incredible, Dr. Prasad. You
And
mentioned
even
the
even
collagen.
younger people who don't face that kind of problem but have different reason for
Right.
brain health, they should at least take a micro daily EMF and the probiotics with prebiotics. At least two things they must take it.
Man, take that brain boost also. But
Brain boosted,
tell
yeah, that will be nice. That will because no matter what external forces are causing mental health problem, they all go via oxidative stress and inflammation.
okay. Okay. So definitely micro daily will deal with the oxidative stress. Tell us a little bit more. You mentioned the collagen peptide. You mentioned that, and she mentioned it specifically in her case.
Yes.
So can you go ahead and tell us a little bit about the beta
Yeah,
amyloids?
yeah, no, no. What collagen does it? It is it maintains the structure. Once your
Uh,
structure is improved, your function will improve.
okay.
So in this case, there was no like a beta amyloid or anything involved in that. It is only to improve the structure, and when you move the structure, that your function gets restored.
Gotcha.
And so the collagen peptide in the brain has a unique function because the main job of collagen, and there are different types of collagen, and a brain. There, as you know, there are 29 different types of collagen, and each organ has a different types of collagen, and they make up their own collagen, uh,
Right.
from the collagen peptide.
Right.
And so, but one amino acid, they get degraded in amino acid and they all picked up and they make their own collagen after that. So collagen, main function of the collagen peptide provide so that you can maintain your normal structure and function of all your organ in the body, not
Okay.
only the skin, but all.
Okay. Okay. That's good to know. And I take 2 scoops of this every morning.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I have noticed, Dr. Prasad, I take the 2/3 of a scoop, but I take two of the 2/3 of a scoop every morning. And I've noticed that I've got herniated disc in my back, and I take extra micro daily, and I'm able to pick up things now without having the same flare up, the inflammation
Yeah,
that I used
and
to get.
collagen, another thing, it strengthen your all collagen and bones and things like that. So it has a
Okay.
double advantage. But for brain function, that is different issue. But it is also have a, because that's the organ. I mean, your bone.
Right.
If you lose from the skin, you are losing from the bone too.
That's right. That's right. That's right. Very good. Well, I did remember seeing on one of your slides the additional benefit, and it stuck out to me when you mentioned in one of your presentations about beta amyloids, because Dr. Nakuzi had told me that beta amyloids had was implicated in Alzheimer's,
Oh
and
yeah,
you mentioned that it blocks that beta amyloid issue as well. So that was one of the other benefits to it. So because I didn't
yeah.
want to
And
get Alzheimer's, so I'm
you know,
taking it for that reason
this
too.
is what the beta amyloid does. First, beta amyloid is produced because as you grow older and in the brain, when you get Alzheimer, the enzyme called gamma secretase enzyme.
Okay.
And that enzyme normally breaks down a smaller amount of large protein called protein peptides, APP, amyloid protein. And so the APP gets break down to beta amyloid. And this enzyme is responsible for that. Why enzyme increases? Oxidative stress will increase the activity of the enzyme. So now they can break down APP, larger protein, into a smaller peptide like beta amyloid. And when
Okay.
beta amyloid accumulates, they form plaque. And then when they could kill the cell, dopamine neuron, for example, in this case, in this case, cholinergic neuron, then then they do last step is also increase generation of free radicals. So you have two steps where you can. So if you use an antioxidant like micronutrient
Right.
EMF,
Right.
it not only reduces the production, but also reduces the action of beta amyloid, which is the last step of killing it. So it is much more effective in terms of preventing the, and also the hyperphosphorylation of top protein is also reduced if you use antioxidant, because antioxidant also affect in causing hyperphosphorylation of top protein. And
Wow.
so it is very important to remember that how antioxidant can help, not only by decreasing the enzyme activity, you will produce less, but suppose they are already present there, and if
Right.
you use the micronutrient, they will prevent the free radical damage, producing damage. So you can stay there, but it's not producing any damage.
Wow. That's
But see,
pretty amazing, Dr. Prasad.
the recent medication, they developed the
Hmm.
antibody of a beta amyloid.
Right.
But first, it is so toxic, causes bleeding, severe bleeding in the brain. It and
Oh my
I
goodness.
don't know. Despite opposition from a scientist, the FDA approved it.
They approved it anyway. Oh my
So,
goodness.
so I lost respect for FDA for that reason. But anyway, so nothing is right now working. Only reason that is working in Alzheimer, but because again that is a short-lived, is a called the acetylcholinesterase inhibitor, and what it does, it increases the acetylcholine level in cholinergic neuron, and where your memory is stored. So if your cholinergic neuron is healthy, and if you can maintain the acetylcholine level there, then you can start thinking about it. Memory is restored. But the oxidative stress and inflammation are killing cholinergic neuron. So the drug effectiveness lasts only for a few months, because once the all cholinergic neuron is gone, there is no place to increase the acetylcholine level.
Wow.
You see
Wow.
what I mean? And so
Yeah.
you use antioxidant like in a micronutrient combination, they can prevent the damage from dying cholinergic neuron, so that your medication, in this case, can be more effective.
Wow. That's pretty good. So I hope everybody's getting this. Folks, an ounce of prevention is better than a pound of cure that doesn't work very well. I've got an example of the impact on memory, Dr. Prasad. You just
Mhm.
mentioned this cholinergic neuron,
Mhm.
and that's the area where memory is impacted. I've got one example here
Exactly.
that well illustrates that. Now, I love this because, again, with the brain boost and the collagen,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
anything that's going to affect the brain, I'm taking it. And if
yeah,
it's
yeah.
got your name on it, I'm taking it.
Those two, me too.
And I'm going to take a lot of it because the last thing I want to go on me is going to be my brain. So,
Yeah, I want to leave the planet while my brain is working.
and know that you're on your way out, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So, well, listen to this woman's story. Let me see if I can get this to actually download here. But she had a serious memory issue. Okay, so hold on one second.
When I met Beth years ago, she was so sick. I didn't know what to think. I thought she was leaving here. And when I reached out to her on behalf of someone else's loss, she sounds so good, and she started telling me about the products. When I spoke with her, I was so impressed, and I couldn't sleep. But when I started taking the products, I noticed with taking the hydro, I had so much energy. I felt so much better. And for me, in 2020, I had a stroke. I wasn't able to work. I had so much brain fog. Anytime I drove, I would get lost.
Hmm.
I would have to have people to help me in the conversation so that I would know exactly where I was in the conversation. But now we're taking the brain boost, the hydro, the eye products. I am so excited. I can speak to anyone, hold conversation. I can go any place I want to. I'm loving what God has put before us. Knowledge and wisdom that God has given man to bless us to have these products. I'm thankful for every testimony. I'm thankful for how good Beth looks, how she feels, and how she's caring about other people so that they can feel as good as she does. And I'm telling you, previously, months ago, I couldn't have a conversation like this.
Hmm.
I would not know where I was in the conversation. I constantly had to call my husband and tell him I'm lost. I'm out. I'm lost. I don't know where I'm at. And this is places that I've driven for years.
Hmm.
I even Googled one time how to put my wedding rings on. I forgot how to put them on. I'm so thankful, Jeff. Thank you so much for all that you've done. Thankful for this opportunity to share with other people that need to hear that God has something that will bless us, our health. Thanks, Beth.
Pretty amazing.
That's amazing, Jeff. That's amazing story, really. It's equally amazing, you know. Brain boost, as I told you, it is almost like a magic effect. We
But
developed it scientifically, but it looks like it is working as I predicted.
Dr. Prasad, it just, there's a woman right there, and that's just one of about three. I have three almost exactly like that. This woman would be so lost. She said she had to Google how to put her wedding rings back on. I'm surprised she remembered that Google could tell her, but imagine.
I wonder how her neurologists think, or cardiologist or whatever, doctor, that she recovered like that, what you are doing.
Yeah.
Because there is nobody else is recovering, counterpart who is not taking it.
Well, I think that I'm hoping that the folks that are here now will get this. Micro Daily is about reducing oxidative stress in the brain. Dr. Prasad said that the brain produces the most amount of oxygen.
Yes.
You've got to ameliorate oxidative stress in the brain, number one.
Yeah.
Number two, Dr. Prasad said you must take probiotic boost because the gut-brain connection is significant. Every disease has a fingerprint in the gut.
Yeah.
And if you want to maintain the structural integrity of your brain, you
Yes.
got to have this collagen peptide that will keep the structural integrity. As we get older, hate to break it to you, but our brain starts to shrink.
Yeah.
So,
also, while this is going on, I also mentioned some importance of the omega-3. See, omega-3.
But before you do that, Dr. Prasad, before you do that, tell us a little bit.
CBD boost.
Yes, tell us a little bit about this.
Yeah, it is so important for health, for people who have anxiety and depression, already have it. It may not have any, well, it could have a preventive value, but at least for the treatment, for example, it is better than any other right now prescription medication that doctor recommends, like Zoloft.
Whoa, that's heavy, Dr. Prasad.
Yeah, and here is why. Because this is a first non-toxic. It is totally non-toxic. Second, it acts as a inhibitor of serotonin. Lack of serotonin is the cause why you are feeling depressed and why your anxieties. And also slight reduction in dopamine makes you depressed and not very happy. So there are three issues. Another is glutamate released. If this amino acid gets released excessive amount, then you get anxiety, depression, and also that you have an uncontrolled movement. And so three are very culprit and contributes to the depression and anxieties and hallucination and so on. And here is what CBD does. CBD acts as an inhibitor of serotonin reuptake, because if serotonin gets uptake in this cell, they get destroyed by the enzyme. So they will prevent it. 21. Not only, and that is FDA-approved drug, which also acts as a serotonin reuptake inhibitor and routinely prescribes to the patient with PTSD. And because I've collaborated with the doctor who was working with PTSD. And so this is one very important function. The second important thing is it also enhances the dopamine receptor D2, which enhances the dopamine level. And when your body has a good level of dopamine, you feel very happy. It's well known, well established.
Yep.
That's one thing. And also, third thing, that it prevents the release and production of glutamate. And so in this way, you feel extremely happy. I take
Wow.
every day. And so even though I don't have any reason for anxiety and depression, I never had one. But nevertheless, I take just as a, you never do in old days, you can have something that you are not aware of.
I take 2 every night, Dr.
I
Prasad.
really do. I take also 2 every day, every night before going to bed.
Yep.
And so it is very important. So these are all components, and depending upon the young people, this is very important because, and also the people who have a disease state and having this kind of problem. And so,
You need to understand that, folks, that it doesn't matter whether you're young or old. This is this
yeah,
CBD has been FDA approved for children.
yes,
So up to half the bottle,
yes, 750
is okay.
milligram per day by FDA has approved for children with seizure to be given. So it
There's
is
no toxic. So there's no toxic amount that would hurt
Oh.
someone with this. Take what you need.
Yeah, 100,
this.
200
So-
milligram a day, that's good enough.
So you're dealing with anxiety, you're dealing with depression.
Yeah, yeah.
Dr. Prasad's words, and I'm still trying to wrap my mind around this.
Excuse
And I
me.
think I'm going to kind of clip that out as a soundbite. People need to understand this man just said that this is better than any mental health drug out there. So you guys need to kind of absorb that. That's pretty significant. That's earth shattering to me. Now go ahead, Dr. Prasad. Tell us a little bit more about the omega-3 daily.
Omega-3, I was saying that, omega-3 is a fatty acid, as you know, and every fatty acid get oxidized. And if your body have not taken anything, omega-3 will be oxidized. And in the brain, 40% of your brain fatty acids is DHA. And that's why I've given more DHA than EPA. EPA is very important for heart, but not for brain. But DHA is very important. And so if you get oxidized, it becomes dysfunctional. So by taking a regular unoxidized omega-3 like this one, then you will maintain the DHA level in your brain, very good level, so it can function very nicely.
Love it. Love it, love it, love it. Thank you very much. That's wonderful. So you just heard a mouthful, folks. That's the reason why these products are great, and that this is a good time to have access to this type of information. So it's Mental Health Awareness Month.
Yes, it is so important. I mean, people they are simple, that it is in your hand. Many things which causes mental health problem is not under your control.
That's
but
right.
this is under your control.
That's right. That's right. Thank you.
And
So
also they always mention the good diet. Try to make some physical activity. Walking is the best one. I force myself, even though I have all kind of back issue, but I force myself to walk every day 25
gotta
minutes.
walk. That's right. Gotta walk. That's important. Dr. Prasad formulated a digestive boost for
But
seniors.
yeah, digestive boost also,
trouble with that?
especially, yeah. No, I think, yeah, digestive boost, I want to make for digestive health, especially older people, not for younger people. Digestive boost, as you grow older, your capacity body to produce adequate amount of the digestive enzyme decreases. And so then you get a constipation and digestion and so on and so forth. So for older people, at least, anybody who is a 45 or year older, one should consider also taking a digestive boost, so that you absorb, not only take a nutrient, you make your healthy much better, because you are taking probiotics plus digestive enzyme. You have perfect health. And if you are perfect health, your gut, every organ is perfect, especially
good.
brain.
That's good. That's good. So 2 capsules is 1 serving, and you can take that just before your meals or after your meal.
Yeah, no, after your meal.
Either
Or
one.
it doesn't make difference. Sometimes I forget. It's better to take before meal, but sometimes I forget, then I take after meal. It doesn't make difference.
Okay. Sleep boost, I can tell you, does
Yeah,
work.
yeah.
Anytime I have especially if I have a bout of insomnia for some reason, some anxiety or something on my mind that I'm working heavy on. Like
Yeah.
last night, I woke up at like 3 o'clock in the morning, Dr. Prasad.
Yeah,
So I took,
whenever need it, sometimes,
Dr. Prasad,
especially,
I took an extra CBD, and one of those, I didn't wake up again till 8 o'clock.
yeah. No, I think this is very good because especially for the younger people, who have if you have anxiety, depression, then you can sleep very well. And so for them, this is extremely important.
Yes, yes, because lack of sleep makes
Is the
depression worse.
it contributes to all kind of ill health.
Yeah, so it's going to make everything worse.
Yeah.
So every aspect of health gets worse when you're not sleeping properly.
Yeah.
So
Jonathan, I have to leave at exactly 3.
understood. So for the sake of our guest, this is the core 4. And
Yes.
Engage Global, if you bought this retail, it cost you $310, but Engage Global subsidizes our health. So you can get this for $200, $199.99. So that's pretty impressive to get that bundle. And then what you do is you add on the brain boost on the CBD boost to that. So you add that onto that, and the company will give you $10 off and $15 off respectively. So you get discounts every time you add on the boost.
Yeah.
If for some reason you can't do the core 4, then go with at the very minimum, as Dr. Prasad said, the brain, this basic bundle right here. This basic bundle gets you started. Again, the subscription price is $110, and then you can add to that still the brain boost and the CBD boost for mental health purposes. So what you do is you just get back with the person who invited you to this discussion, and they will help you to pick out the bundle that's right for you. They'll help you to put together what you need in order to make sure that you are working with your body. And as you just heard Dr. Prasad say, we really want you to just empower yourself.
Jonathan,
Don't do
sure. I
our,
can ask a question to the doctor for a second.
Yes. Yeah. Go ahead.
Hang on just a second here, please.
Okay.
Our direction, our instruction here is don't expect a pill, a potion, or a lotion to do for you what you could do for yourself. So please get yourself moving and get moving, and that will benefit you and your health tremendously. So Dr. Prasad has about a minute and a half that he can take a question or two. So I'm sorry that I didn't mean to cut you off there. But if you have a question, go ahead, please.
Yes, I do have a question. I tested myself with kinesiology, and I noticed that there's 3 things I do definitely have to have. And I'm wondering how I make the package that way. I know I need the weight loss. I know I need the mind, and I know I need the heart. I do kinesiology. Do you recommend, do you do any kinesiology when you tell people how to take the items ever?
No, we don't. Dr. Prasad hasn't done any. We don't generally do kinesiology, but if you're working with a practitioner, they can help you